Hi, use it or lose it, friends. We're back to help you keep food out of the landfill and get every penny out of your food dollar. Well, I got to the bottom of a bag of apples. They've gotten wrinkly. I don't know if you can see, they're kind of wrinkly. And it's not going to be that good to eat. I prefer my apples super crisp, so the second that they start getting a little mushy, I've lost all interest. And I was eating these as a snack with peanut butter. And then the light bulb went on. So when you have a few apples left, it's not a big job to make apple butter. And then I thought, hey, apple butter has the word butter in it. And I was going to put peanut butter on the apple, so why not make peanut apple butter? So that's what we're going to do today. This is a bit of a long process, so there is going to be a long pause in the middle, but that's okay because I'm not going to make you watch it simmer. Anyhow, I have my handy apple coring device to make short work of coring and slicing the apples, which were already washed. And they're just going to go right into this nice wide shallow pan. The reason I'm using a wide shallow pan is because it helps when you get to the part of the process where they have to cook down and you get that nice thick apple butter texture. And see, look at that, the handy little core. Some recipes say to go ahead and leave the core in there because there's pectin in there and that helps thicken it. You know. You don't have to peel them. The peels also have pectin, and that also helps thicken it. And it's going to get all ground up when we stick in our immersion blender once it's fully cooked down. So, I don't know. And it's just me. See, look at that. Boom, it's done. No peeling, chopping, none of that stuff. All right. And so, yeah, this is the perfect sized pan. So I'm going to add some water because that's going to help as to break down the apples. I don't know. That was about 1/4 of a cup for 3 apples. I'm kind of winging it. You want a little lemon juice because that helps brighten the flavor and it keeps the apples from getting too brown before you want them to. And it gives a little tartness. Add some brown sugar. Hey, look, I have brown sugar rocks. But that doesn't matter because it's going to get all cooked down anyway. So, I don't know, just throw some rocks in there. I've read so many tips and tricks about how to reconstitute brown sugar. I found that usually the most effective method is to actually put it in a small cup in the microwave and cover it with a damp napkin or paper towel and nuke it for, a few seconds at a time. Because then that kind of steams it without getting it wet and not being able to measure it and so forth. And now we're going to add the classic apple seasonings, which is, of course, cinnamon. I could have sworn I had a little container of apple pie spice, but alas, it did not magically appear. Some ground cloves. Cloves are like a bass note in the melody of this combination of flavors. A little nutmeg, because what the hell. And a little ground allspice. Whoops! And it's not opened. Just shows it's fresh. Yeah, just a touch of that because that's very citrusy. It's a strong flavor, so just a sprinkle. Okay. And now, going to turn on the burner that takes forever to turn on. Okay. And the trick with making apple butter, because I have done this before, is low and slow. So I'm going to put that on the heat. I'm going to let it come to a boil with the lid on, and then I'm going to lower the temperature so it cooks down. It'll probably take about an hour to get to the point where we can mash it all up and then keep cooking it until it's the proper consistency, because you don't want it too wet. You want it to be nice and thick, but we don't want it to be too thick so that when we add the peanut butter, it's too stiff. And what I envision doing with my peanut apple butter or apple peanut butter, take your pick, I can see using that as on crackers, spread on toast, even potentially celery. Who knows? Those things all kind of go together. So I'll be back in a while after this has had a chance to cook down, and we'll see where we are in the process. See you later. Okay, well, it's been more like 2 hours, and it's about time to start mushing up all the apples. I did decide to throw the cores in just so I would have more delicious apple butter. So I'm going to start off by using a potato masher before I use the immersion blender. Just make it easier. So we're going to mash that up. And you can see, so it's gotten pretty thick. Look how nice and cooked and dark all of that is. Squish that up. Come on, muscles. May not be quite ready for the immersion blender. We'll see. Rather than having you watch me struggle with this, I'll be back in just a few moments once I've had a chance to blend this up, so stay tuned. Well, my immersion blender wasn't quite up to the task, so I had to bust out the big guns and go with the magic bullet. You can also use a blender or a food processor. A lot of the liquid had cooked down already, so I didn't have a lot of liquid to work with there, so that made it a little more challenging. But I added like a soup spoonful, or maybe 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, and ground it all up in there with the apples. And here we have our apple peanut butter. And now I'm going to try it because I'm really excited to see how this goes. So I'm going to get out a Triscuit and give it a taste. The peanut butter does not overwhelm the apple. It's this happy marriage. And it's super smooth. The peanut butter helped make it even smoother than blending it did. So it's the perfect apple butter texture. It's not too stiff. It's not too thin. It's just right. So there you have it. If you happen to have a couple of hours, and mind you, if you have a slow cooker, then you can throw those apples in there and just leave them forever. These could have, stood to cook a little bit longer. Would have made the blending process a little easier. But slow cooker works for this as well. Go online, you can see how to do it. But even if you have just a few apples left, now you know what you can do with them. So that's it for today. I kept all of those apples out of the landfill because I did include the cores, so nothing went in the trash. And that's it for today, and we'll see you next time. Bye!